Hello, 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 everybody. I'm going to go ahead and give it a few minutes while I wait for some people to join us. We are actually super excited about tonight, and especially with this being our first live session for career development and helping people to gain employable skills and get back into the workforce. So I'm super excited, and I want to take a moment just to share with you guys about who I am, who we are, and what we do. So my name is Abigail Ellis, and I am the founder of Steps Foundation, Inc. And what we provide is life skills for adults and for students. So tonight we will be doing career development, which our topics tonight are basically going to be about resume writing. And I want to introduce you guys Melissa Myers with Just Right Consulting.
Hey everyone, how are you? Welcome to our very first career talk. We're very excited to speaking with you guys.
Yes. Tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do, Melissa.
Oh man, what is it that I don't do? Let's see. I'm the founder of Just Right Consulting, a nonprofit organization where I help individuals with one-on-one career consulting, resume writing, interviewing skills, as well as computer training. In my 20 years of HR and recruiting, I seen that there was a lack of knowledge in these areas. So I created a nonprofit, to help individuals with these absolutely free courses, to empower you and help you advance in your career.
Yes, it's definitely needed, and especially right now, because when I tell you COVID-19 has taken a toll on so many families and so many people, and it's just hard for a lot of families to just get back out there and get employed.
It's very hard, especially with the fact that it's so many people unemployed. The competition is out there is very fierce. You have one position and there's hundreds of individuals applying for this one position. So that's where we will come in and assist you on how to make your resume more marketable to catch the eye of that recruiter or that hiring manager.
Right. And I think that's important too, because again, like you said, there's hundreds of people applying for the same position. Mm-hmm. Companies are getting overloaded with thousands and thousands of resumes that they have to comb through and pick who they feel is the best candidate for that position. And that's just looking at paper, not even based on personality, because they haven't talked to you yet. So, I mean, it was hard before, because a lot of employers would get hundreds of resumes. I'm like, but now it's just,
it's even harder now. And then the fact that these employers, they kind of have a leg up in a sense. They know people are looking for employment, with the unemployment rate being so high, and they can kind of play the playing field when it comes down to your salary as well, to say, hey, listen, everyone is having a hard time, and they may try to lowball you on your salary. But guess what? Your back is up against against the wall, and you have a family to provide for. You may just very well accept that salary for the time being, just to say, hey, I need to put food on my table and keep the lights on.
Exactly. And it's gonna just continue to be that way for a while. I'm afraid, because I'm like, we don't know when it's gonna go anywhere. COVID is sticking around. We're about to come into flu season again. So of course there's gonna be that panic all over again, with everybody trying to figure out what to do. They don't know if they have COVID, they don't know if they got the flu or a common cold. And I think we're ultimately gonna see that decline again, and people looking for employment. So I think that doing these sessions is going to be helpful to a lot of families and even college students, because I look at those too, because they're getting ready, people who are getting ready to graduate from college, as where you already had a hard time before getting your feet through the door as a graduating college student. Now it's going to be 10 times worse, because you paid for this degree and you're ready to go out there and market yourself. And now you have to compete against people who've already been doing the work, who lost their previous job.
Now let's talk about degrees.
Exactly.
The crazy thing about it when we're talking about degrees is the fact that you invest in yourself, right? You're investing in yourself, you're paying for your degree or taking out student loans or whatever means of finances you're doing to earn this degree, the time, the dedication, right? Yeah. Only to be passed up for individuals who have more experience than you.
Yep.
Right? So my suggestion always to people who are on the brink of graduating or while you're in college, getting an internship, getting that real life experience, and even on your resume, even though if it's an intern position, I wouldn't even put intern on there. Drop the title intern.
Yeah.
Put the title on what you were doing. Because you have recruiters that unfortunately, there's a bias there. They see intern like, oh, you was just an intern. Well, no, I was doing the work as a payroll person, even though I was intern, but I was gaining real life experience. So that's where you partner up with someone, a resume writer, that's going to assist you and help you to write up your resume, make it more marketable, to show that you have bona fide experience to do the job.
Exactly. Now let's touch on that again, because I've seen it too, where a lot of people have passed up interns because they write the title intern next to what they're doing. Now, I think a lot of times people think that they have to put intern on their resume because that is what your title is when you're there. But like you said, it is definitely an employable skill because you are learning exactly what you need to do to make yourself marketable. And I agree. I think them having their title as, hey, I was a payroll assistant.
Exactly.
I was a human resources admin.
Exactly.
Not a human resource intern, because you're right. A lot of people will pass them up simply because they put the word intern. But then I also think that there's a stigma behind that word intern because some people misuse their interns. That's so true. You have people who are showing up for, let's say, I'm coming to be a payroll intern, but then that employer has you doing background checks all day,
or running and going to get coffee.
So I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to what interns truly do.
Exactly.
And a lot of places feel like interns make up their skills. And it does become hard for people to get employed based on the word intern.
And see, the whole thing about it, it's not like you are fibbing, you are just, because the idea is to get called for the position. You got to get called, right? So you want that recruiter or that hiring manager to call you. You will be able to articulate your skills that you did at that position, which in turn is where they're going to bring you in for the interview. Once again, you give an effective interview, you got the job. So the biggest thing is getting that call, getting that interview. And then once again, that's where, Steps Foundation and Just Right Consulting, where we can come in and we can help you nail that interview.
Yep. And I believe practicing for interviews is imperative. I know that a lot of people are comfortable just going in and thinking they got the gift of gab, and it may work for some employers, but it don't work for all. And I think a lot of times people forget that there are certain things that you just should not be sharing in your interview. That employer is not your friend.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I had a client, a company located in Atlanta. Very young company, progressive, and things like that. And I was recruiting for, a director of sales position. When I say this woman was fantastic, the candidate was awesome. My client was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet her. We had a great conversation on the phone. She's fantastic. She's exactly what we're looking for. We get to the interview. My candidate happened to mention that she was a single mother of 4 children during the interview. My client did not hire her because of that. His concern was she's a single mother. How is she going to dedicate her time to her position? What if her children get sick? What if someone needs to be picked up from school or whatever it may be? And I was so frustrated behind that. Mind you, that's not my client anymore. But I was so frustrated behind that because number one, my client was a parent, you know, but number two, you can't find the most single mothers, single parents, period, are the most hardworking individuals because of the fact that they know that they have to go to work. They have to put it in because they are the sole provider for their children. So, you know, those are biases that these hiring managers, that these companies have to where you cannot divulge everything during an interview, unfortunately, because of these biases. You know, you have to just answer the question and zip it, you know, that's it. And it's so funny because my approach as a recruiter, I'm very relaxed. I make you feel very comfortable with me. The more comfortable you are, the more you start chatting and telling the truth about yourself. And I start seeing the true character of an individual. I have disqualified so many candidates because they said the wrong thing during an interview that let me know they wouldn't be the right fit for a company. So will I disqualify a single mother? Of course not, you know, but you have hiring managers that does that. And you have to be so careful of the biases and the discrimination that these companies have. It's real. And there's no way to prove it.
But you know what it always starts with? The question that it always starts with. Tell me about yourself.
And guess what? That does not mean talk about your husband, your kids, your dog. You know, that does not mean that. That means tell me professionally about yourself. When did you start it? How did you get into the field? How many years of experience? What is your passion about what you do? You know, what keeps you motivated? You know, those are things that you stick with. Keep the personal stuff out of it.
Exactly. I laughed every time because I said that's the one question every time. Like if you've already set the dynamic and you made that candidate comfortable, the minute you say, tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh, I got 3 kids. I just got married last week. We got a house down the block with a dog. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Right. And it's like they don't care about that stuff. They don't.
Like you haven't told me nothing about what you're gonna do in this position, but okay, you got a house, you got a dog, you got 3 kids. All right, and I'm still waiting for you to tell me why you qualify for this position, but okay.
You know, another mistake that I found, people think if you share the fact that you have children or that you're having a hard time paying your bills, mind you, I've heard it all, okay? You know, they think, oh, they will have sympathy for me and hire me for a position. These companies do not have sympathy for you. All they care about is the fact that you can do the job. And that's
can you perform?
Everything you need to converse about.
Exactly.
Is your skill set, your accomplishments, any awards that you've won, you know, and things like that. You just keep it there, you know?
Yep. I wholeheartedly agree. You know, I've seen it all too. And it never ceases to amaze me. Like, you know, I swear from month to month, you see a new dynamic of things coming through in just the way people respond to certain things. And, you know, being in that position, a lot of times your thought process sometimes is how can you help that candidate be better for the next job? Because I'm already looking at you going, I'm not about to hire you. But then I'm like, how do we save people from themselves? Like,
you know what? I think because my personality is, I'm very honest and direct, but I'm very mindful of the individual's feelings. I let them know. I say, listen, this is the reason why we decided not to move forward, right? And I tell them what they should do the next time they have an interview, right? And I found a lot of candidates be so appreciative of that feedback because you have a lot of recruiters that will not reach back out to you and tell you that you didn't get hired. You'll just receive a rejection email and that's it, you know. But the whole thing about it, just because this is my thought process as a recruiter, just because they weren't the right fit at that moment, that does not mean that I can't use them in the future for another position.
True. Very true.
You want to, as a recruiter, you want to continue to build those relationships with individuals. It may not be tomorrow, but it may be a year from now. They may have went back and earned a certification or finished their degree, you know, or gave a better interview. So you want to keep those relationships. And even bigger than that, you know, my referral rate as a recruiter has always been very high, to where they referring their friends and their families. Oh, they're looking for a job or whatever it may be. I didn't get the job, but I think this person would be a great fit, you know. So you're building that relationship, you know.
And relationships are everything.
It is.
No matter where you are and what position you're in, relationships are everything.
They are. They most definitely are. You know, and then even bigger than that, you know, in my interviewing class, I teach the interview does not start when you sit down at the table. The interview starts literally like a day or two before. If you don't know where the place is located, you need to drive to the location so you know where to go, so it prevents you being late to the interview. Right?
Yep.
Even bigger than that, you know, the receptionist, that is a person you want to walk in and say, hey, how are you doing? Good morning or good afternoon. Oh my gosh, I love that. Because guess what? That receptionist is going to tell that hiring manager, I like her, I like him.
Because they're the gatekeepers.
Okay. You can't be in the waiting room in the lobby playing on your phone, you know.
Yep.
You need to be sitting up, erect, and ready for them to come out. You know, be reviewing your resume, you know, while you're waiting on them to come get you for the interview. You know, the interview actually starts the day before. The preparation. If you don't prepare until the day of, you're trying to print your resume. You ran out of ink, or the printers are working right. You know, you're frustrated.
Everything is wrong the day of.
It never works. You know,
everything goes wrong.
It never works. You know, so you don't want to go into an interview frustrated or late or, you know, not focused. You know, you have to go in there confident and ready to knock them dead. You know, and be ready to tell your skill set. And then at the same time, it's okay to be nervous. There has been interviews that I've been nervous on because I really wanted the position. You know, it's not about when you really want something, you know, you get the butterflies in your stomach and you're very nervous. I've gone into the interview room, I've sat down, I say, guys, I apologize. I am so nervous. And everyone chuckles and they're like, don't need to be nervous.
Exactly.
We're not bullies, you know, and it loosens up the room, you know, just to show your human side. You know, it's okay to show that human side to say, hey, I'm nervous, you know, so
See, and I love that because now let's back that up some more because see, we done jumped ahead, and now we telling them, you know, what it's like once you make it that far. Now, before you even got that far, you had to have done that resume correctly to even get your foot in the door.
That's
now,
right.
I will tell you, ooh, I done seen some resumes. And I think people forget just the tiniest things in a resume that gets them turned away. From the way you format it to the way it looks to your grammar. And I think the one thing that really irks my nerves is capitalization. Like, people do not capitalize proper letters. And I'm like, come on, if it's an admin position and you can't capitalize your letters, that tells me you're going to send out a letter to a client that's not correct.
Right.
And then that makes the company look bad. So I mean, you gotta have your resume on point and ready, and especially when you're trying to apply for prominent positions. And I don't care how small the position is. I don't care if you're trying to get a job at McDonald's. Your resume should be on point.
Exactly.
And up to date.
Because the whole thing about it, there has been times to where I've interviewed a candidate and I'm looking at their resume, or this could be like the initial phone interview, and I'm looking at their resume and I'm having a conversation and it looks so well put together. And I'm like, well, I know you applied for this position, but I have something else as well. What I want to do, I want to consider you for both positions, if that's okay with you. And of course, they're like, I give them the details, so a strong resume can get you multiple opportunities within the same company.
Yep.
Because the recruiter wants to fill their roles. They want to get as many positions filled as possible, because guess what? Their superiors, their hiring managers are on them. Their managers are saying, hey, listen, we need these filled. So that's what's going on behind closed doors. So we want to fill these roles, so we need good resumes. We can't send a hiring manager a resume. We'll lose our job. That's all jacked up and not formatted. We'll look at,
because then they look at you like, what's wrong with you? And how did this bypass you?
Exactly. So there has been times to where, now, not every recruiter is like me. There have been times to where I've seen errors in a resume, but I also seen their experience.
Yes.
And I'm like,
and I'm guilty of that too. Because I'll say, okay, I might be able to overlook this.
Right.
But the quality behind what you've been doing may be able, because I'm like, yes, I get it. Sometimes people are in a rush and, you got your typical little typos. You didn't proofread. You just sent it. I'm like, I get it. And I've been guilty of it too. But I'm like, there's something about your experience that says, I think that you'll be just fine. I think you can do this job. I think you're probably going to be an overachiever. Like, your resume sold me based on experience, but not on this formatted ground.
Exactly. Right. So what'll happen, I'll still call the candidate, and kind of, if the conversation is strong, I'm like, yeah, I'll fix their resume for them, But that was the days when unemployment was so low that we as recruiters were having a hard time finding good candidates. Now we're in a position that unemployment is so high, almost everyone is looking for an opportunity, right? So the competition is fierce. So a recruiter is not going to take the time to correct the resume, because they have about 300 other resumes
to go through.
A recruiter only spends seconds reviewing your resume. That resume has to jump out at that recruiter to say, okay, let me contact this person. They only spend seconds. They're not reading your entire resume. They're just reading maybe the first few lines, at a glance. And if nothing jumps out at them to warrant them wanting to give you a call, they're going to pass you by.
Yep. That's very true. That is very true. And let's touch on, I know that there are some companies out there that use the computerized system to pull in candidates that are viable for positions. So now let's talk to people about what they need to do in order to get past those systems. Because I know a lot of times, like, people think, oh, I have my cookie cutter resume, I'm not going to update it. And I know wording is everything. And the wording that I know a lot of the companies are using, like, they program this system to pull out certain keywords in order to say this candidate might be a fit. So let's talk to them a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people don't realize how important the wording in their resume is, and why this too could be why they're missing opportunities.
My biggest question is, how important is it for you to get a new opportunity? I know that you don't want to take the time to update your resume for each position, but unfortunately you have to, in order to get through to the system to where the recruiter can be able to see your resume. So if there's particular systems and keywords, you go through that job description and look at closely what systems that they require, what knowledge they want you to work to have, and put those buzzwords, if you have those skills, in your resume.
Yep.
And guess what? All that is doing is improving your resume with each position, because you're putting those buzzwords in. You're like, oh yeah, I do know that system. Let me put that on my resume,
Exactly.
and then apply for the position. Because guess what? If it's not there, you're going to get rejected for the opportunity. It won't be the recruiter. It'll be the system that automatically does it for the recruiter. The recruiter won't even see it.
Exactly.
So you have to take that time. We can't be lazy applicants. You have to take that time.
I wholeheartedly agree. But I think a lot of people just don't realize a lot of times how important that little step is, because I think they just assume that because they've created a resume that they can just keep sitting out the same resume for every position. And I'm like, you're missing so many opportunities just because you chose not to update your resume to cater to the position itself. Because I've seen people, we hiring for an admin position, and you sending me a mechanic background.
Right.
Your resume clearly states at the top, mechanic position. But this is not a mechanic position.
Exactly.
And not saying that the mechanic doesn't have the skill set to be an admin, but show me your admin skills. Cater that resume to an admin position, not a mechanic position, because this is not what we're hiring for. And I think a lot of people forget that even just that small step, the top of your resume where you're saying exactly what this resume is for, should cater to the position that you are applying for at that moment.
Exactly. Because it's very important, even though, like, for example, individual's main title or main role may have been mechanic, right? But then they had a lot of administrative duties along with being a mechanic. Add that in. And then even on the title, you put mechanic / admin assistant, because even though you didn't officially hold that title, but you did, a lot of skill sets to warrant you having a title, and the recruiter needs to know that. We don't have, recruiter doesn't have time for guesswork. We're not going to look at that and say, oh, they applied for the admin position. They must have admin skills, even though their resume says mechanic. We're going to look at their resume and be like, really? Why did this person apply for this job? So once again, you have to take the time. If you really want the position, you have to take the time to do the necessary steps and update your resume.
And I will say this, highlight your skills.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again. Highlight your skills.
Yes. This is the time to brag. You don't be modest, about your skills. You tell everything that you've done, projects that you were a part of, projects that you've led, even volunteer work, list that to say, hey, I volunteered for my church and I was, the administrative assistant there, or I handled, the fundraising, or whatever. Exactly. That is experience. List it on there.
Because my thing is, you never know. There could be that something that they're looking for that they didn't even have highlighted in the job description, but because it's now your skill, they're gonna say, hey, now I want you because you had this one skill that we've been looking for that we haven't found in another candidate. It made you marketable. Your skills make you marketable.
Exactly, because so many times I spoke to candidates and where I'm like, oh, I know the position was this, but you know how to do this as well? Huh? Mm-hmm. Really?
Look, struck gold.
Like, would you mind incorporating that as well? Once again, that's putting you at a higher level than other candidates because you're bringing more skills that's not even necessary for the job. Yes. So you want to put it on there.
Now, talk to them about the objective statements, because I know there are people who will post objective statements. Some of them have that nice little two-sentence phrase, and then you got those the overachievers who want to give you a whole paragraph in an objective statement. Let's talk to them about these objective statements.
I'm a little biased on the objective statement. I don't even have an objective statement on my resume. At the top, it's really a highlight of projects that I've worked on, companies that I've worked for, certifications, because remember what I said, you have to, those first couple of lines have to grab the recruiter's attention to make them want to proceed further. Don't give them the boring objective statement. Mm-hmm. They normally say, seeking, I'm a qualified administrative assistant seeking an opportunity with your company. Well, we know that because you applied. That goes without saying. You need to go boom right into your experience, right into your skill set. Don't even do the objective statement. That's a waste of space.
Look, I'm here for that. Now, I will say, we were taught in one of my classes to do objective statements, but what I turned that objective statement into was a highlight of all of my energy. Right. I'm like, anybody meeting me, I'm like, I'm a whole ball of energy. So I'm like, look, I think that's a great objective statement. I am a qualified person in the things that I do, but I am also that high energy level person. So if you're looking for somebody with high energy level, somebody that's loyal to the company, then hey, that's me. I want that objective statement to state that, because other than that, that's listed in my cover letter.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And you want to have something that grabs the person's attention. Like, I've had objective statements that made me laugh. I mean, which is hilarious. And I'm like, okay, let me read first. Let me read this resume. That was very creative, right? And it made me read further. And I've called candidates and I said, you know what, you crazy. And they'll laugh, because they know that I'm calling them crazy, and they grab my attention. So you have to do on your resume that's going to effectively grab the attention of the recruiter or the hiring manager.
Exactly. Because the way mine is formatted, it is the name across the top. I got my little one-liner for the objective statement, and then it goes right into skills before anything else. So I have the nice little skill sets, because I know a lot of times that is exactly what they're looking for. They want to know, offer what you got to offer me.
Right. And
I don't make you wait for that.
Right. Exactly. You want to go right into your skill set, your program knowledge, systems you've worked on, projects you've led, or your accomplishments, or whatever it may be. My very first page lists all of that. Then second page goes into the positions that I held.
Yep.
Because people are so focused on, oh, let me just show them my work and my titles and all that good stuff. And then they have the bullet points, right? But then it's causing a recruiter like, okay, let me read all these bullet points.
Yep.
That first page needs to be the highlight of your skill set.
This is that wow factor for you.
Exactly. You got to grab the attention of the recruiter right away, because they're going through hundreds of resumes. To be perfectly honest, recruiters don't go through all of the resumes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go through the 300 resumes. Once they find 2 to 3 candidates that look good, they've vetted them, they've done the initial phone screen, they check their skills and everything checks out, and they submit them to the hiring manager, they're already in the interview process. Our rule of thumb is maybe 3 to 5 candidates. Once we've presented 3 to 5 candidates to the hiring manager, we're done. We're moving on to the next position. So guess what? You still have people applying to that role, and the recruiter very well have already moved on.
Very true.
Yeah. And it's
I will say, like, where I am, we've been guilty of that too. But one of the good things about it is I will end up going back to those very same candidates, because if we go back and we're starting to hire again, whether it's for another position or whether it's because, hey, we're moving up, the person who came in last, they're moving into a new position or a new role. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's see, what other candidates came back and applied after we filled the position. And then we reach out and say, are you still looking for a job? We're open again for this position. So we're calling you now to see if you're interested. I will say I've had some interesting phone conversations with candidates too. And I will say, I've got to say, if you know that you are putting your resume out there, answer your phone professionally.
Know what the word is? Calling candidates, and the wife answers the phone, and I'm asking for the husband because they applied for a position. Well, who is this? Well, this is Melissa Myers from X, Y, and Z Company. Your husband applied for the engineering position. Oh, okay, let me go get him. Whole attitude change. Oh my God.
I've called a candidate and, I'm like, hi, my name is Abby. I'm calling from XYZ. And, I'm calling in reference to the position that you applied to. Can you call me back in 20 minutes?
Yeah. No, I will not.
No, I will not.
Sorry.
I'm like, really? That's what we're doing? Like, for that, you shouldn't even answer the phone. You could have let me go to voicemail. I would have left you the voicemail. And you could have called me back when you was free. But to answer your phone when you knew you were busy, to tell me, can I call you back in 20 minutes? No, I won't be. On to the next.
I see a few people have joined us. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. With any questions that you may have about resume or just career-wise, we're here to answer your questions as well. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, and we'll answer them the best way we can.
I'm about to call them out too. Hi, Kai, I see you. And Paul and Minister Daryl. I see them on this side. I don't know who you got on your side of you two. Look, shout them out.
one of my biggest supporters, my auntie Maddie. I love you, auntie. Hey, auntie. Yes.
This is awesome.
Yes, it is. Yes. And everybody, this is our very first career talk. This is something that we will be doing every Wednesday. So please share and let everyone know what we are doing, because we are better together,
Yep.
And the fact that I've been in recruiting and HR, I know how these hiring managers think. I know what they look for. I know the biases that they have, and I could be able to tell you, how they think, what they look for, what to do, what not to do. I can go as far as I have never gone into an interview with my natural hair in the afro curly state.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had my hair blown out or flat ironed or put into a bun, to look professional. Companies will be biased on you because of your hair.
And they're going to say that they're not. They're going to say, oh, we're not biased. And, but the truth of the matter is, you're too ethnic. In their mind, you're too ethnic. Yes. Or you're too cultural. So they look at those things. They really do.
The excuse that I've received from hiring managers that didn't move forward with a candidate, they will say, oh, this person wasn't a great culture fit. Really?
Like, what does that even mean?
And the thing is, because even though I've represented the companies, I always have an oath to represent the candidates as well. I have fought for so many candidates behind closed doors, because when I'm talking to these candidates on the phone, like I mentioned before, I have a very relaxed conversation. So I'm learning about their families. I'm learning about where they came from, where they went to school. I'm learning a lot about them, and I'm building that relationship with them, especially when I know I'm going to present them to the hiring manager, And so when a candidate is rejected, even though I'm not supposed to, I take it personal at times. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't hire this person because she's a single mother. You didn't hire this person because she's not a good culture fit. Are you?
It almost feels like a personal attack on you.
It does. Because guess what? Once I get the position, I'm going there with my curly hair. I'm going, so I'm like, hey, I got a job now, so whatever, Exactly. But initially, going in for the interview, I always go in very polished and in the professional, their standards of professional.
Right.
We know that having locks, is professional. It's our natural hair. We know having our hair in our natural curly state, that's professional. The fact that they have to pass laws, where for discrimination, where you can't discriminate against someone's natural hair, that just tells the state that this country is still in. But think about it. Yes, they passed the law, right? But we would never know that we were discriminated against because of our hair.
You don't know. They're not going to tell you why they didn't hire you.
Right. They're going to send you the email pretty much saying, hey, you gave an impressive interview, they're going to make you feel good. And then they're going to say, but we chose another candidate with that better suits, what we're looking for, or had better qualifications or whatever, how they word it, So You know, even though they have stamped on the job descriptions, equal opportunity employer.
Y'all, EEOC is everything.
That means nothing.
Exactly. Because again, they don't have to tell you why they didn't hire you. They're not gonna say, "Oh, I didn't hire her because her hair was in an afro." "Oh no, I didn't hire her because we done met our quota for Black people in the company." Or, "I didn't hire her because she was too Spanish for me," or her language was not correct enough for me. Like, they're not gonna say why they didn't hire you. They're just gonna tell you that you weren't a fit.
There could be, I've seen to where candidates did not get hired. I mean, skilled candidates, awesome candidates, because the manager felt threatened. They were scared that, hold on, if we hire this person, he may take the job. It happens all the time. You got to remember, we're dealing with human beings, you know, that's making a choice of bringing you on to their team, to their company.
Right.
And if they feel threatened by you, they won't hire you. I've seen it. I can go all night about what I've seen behind closed doors, you know, dealing with, you know, with hiring managers. And then people think, you know, HR is the department for, oh, they have my best interest, this and the other. They do not have the candidate's best interest. They do not have the employee's best interest. Their best interest is only the company.
The company, exactly.
So you can go in there thinking, oh, the HR manager, I can talk to her about my concerns that I'm having with my manager, you know, because that's what HR is supposed to do. And it's going to be confidential, this and the other. And then next thing you know, your manager has an attitude with you. They're giving you very, you know, not so fun projects. They've put you on the horrible shift at you know, within the company, you know, to where you're working odd hours. You know, they're rejecting your request for vacation time or whatever it may be.
Well, girl, look, you over here preaching to the choir. Look, you about to make me say, "Oh, do we need to do a session on workplace bullying?" Because listen, workplace bullying gets real sometimes, and
it does.
It's a whole other world of things. I've seen it in the culture of some companies where workplace bullying gets real. Like, I've seen managers really, and especially in the hotel industry.
Yeah. Oh, the customer service industry as well.
Yes.
This is what happens. You have a customer service rep. They've been there for quite some time. They've done a great job on the phones. You know, their metrics are high and they're always meeting goals and things like that. So guess what? Naturally, they're going to be promoted as a manager. But they've never been trained on how to be a manager and how to deal with employees and how to deal with conflict. You know, so the companies make the mistakes of promoting an individual, but not preparing them to become a manager. So at that point, you know, this manager that's been promoted, they have to take care of a team and they haven't had this experience before, right? And then it causes friction on the team. You know, you got the team talking about the manager like, oh, child, you know, whatever. I can't deal with her or whatever it may be. And it's a lot of backlash. And guess what? It's setting up that great employee that got promoted, setting him up to fail.
Exactly. Yep.
And that has done so much damage within teams, within companies, because the individual just never was trained on how to be a manager. So I am so huge on training to where we have to train. You have to properly train your employees in order to set them up for success.
Wholeheartedly agree. Look, I love me some training. Look,
yeah,
that's my thing right there. Look, I love training people. Look, let me train you.
yes, yes. Yes. I have had recruit people who was like, Melissa, I want to be a recruiter. You know, I love what you do. I want to be a recruiter, but they don't have any experience, right? I've trained them and showed them how to be a recruiter. And, I have recruiters out there that has, years of experience doing the thing, It's just you have to just take the time to show individuals the way. And that's what the companies need to realize. Like, you have to have a huge training budget. You have to be able to prepare, pour into your employees. And a lot of companies, they're not taking the time to do so.
Yep. I think this has been awesome. And I definitely want to say to anybody who's viewing, or even if you go back and you're playing the replay and you're listening to what we're talking about, if you feel, and especially those of you who are trying really hard right now to get back into employment, if you feel like you need some extra help, you just want somebody to look over your resume, or, you just want to know why you're not getting a call back. I mean, reach out to us. We're here to help. We're looking at helping individuals become employable again. We want you guys out there. We want you guys making a living. We want to help. So, reach out to us if you have questions, if you need assistance. Like, that's what we're here for, and that's why we're doing this. We want to help you.
Yeah. My motto is making success a reality. That's my. We are here to make it a reality. So you can't bug us. This is what we do. This is our passion, so contact us, message us and just say, hey, I need some assistance, and everybody doesn't know how to write a resume. It's okay. It's not embarrassing,
Exactly.
Just reach out. That's what we're here for. I've had, professionals that's been in their career 20, 30 years that have led teams and that has traveled the country and done this and that. They didn't know how to write a resume. So you're not alone in this.
Exactly. And don't feel like you're alone, and don't feel like you have to face the world alone. There's always a team that's ready to jump on to help you. And we know, like, there are people who feel like they have to struggle when they don't. And we just want to remind you that you don't. Like, we are definitely here to help, and we want to help. So, again, I just say, if you feel like you just need somebody to look over your resume, or you feel like you just need questions answered, even if it's about, hey, what about this position? Am I a good fit for this position? Because I think a lot of times people apply for positions that they shouldn't be applying for too, because your skill set may not be for that position.
Right.
So, like, even if it's just that, like, or even if, like, you may have the skills for it, but you haven't written it in that resume.
Exactly.
So, take the time to look it over. If we need to help you look it over, reach out. And I will say, if you are not following Melissa's page, her page is Just Right Consulting. So please go ahead and follow her. This is definitely what she does. She's an expert in the field, and she does it every day, all day. I'm calling you out. She do it every day, all
another thing that I offer as well is one-on-one career consulting. There are individuals that want a career change, or just like, I don't know what I want to do. We will sit down and have a conversation. I will have you to take some assessments, to see what the system pulls up, and say, okay, have you ever thought about, it may spit out and say that with your responses, you'll be good at being a nurse. Have you ever thought about that? You know, and it's just like, yeah, I love helping people. You know, I considered it before. Well, guess what? This is what the assessment told me. Why aren't you moving towards that? You know, let's take the steps to move towards that. Because at the end of the day, yes, we have to pay our bills, right? But we want to enjoy what we do.
Yes,
want to be able to go to work or have a career that we enjoy to where it doesn't feel like work, you know?
Exactly.
So, you know, this is the time, if you are unemployed, definitely if you're unemployed, to do some reflection. You know, reflecting on yourself, reflecting on your career, reflecting on what changes you want to make in your life. You know, we're here to help you with that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful too, when you talk about career changes and a lot of people not knowing how to make that adjustment and to transition themselves into the next phase of where they feel they need to be. That is very huge. Yeah, I think we need a whole session on that too.
Yeah.
Because that is very real. A lot of people really don't realize about, you know, how to transition into that next phase of career, because sometimes you've outgrown what you've been doing.
Yeah.
It happens, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. It happens.
I have left the company, an awesome company. I was a recruiting manager for this particular company, and I got contacted from a friend of mine to say, hey, look, I want you on my team. I would have no longer, you know, making that transition wasn't a managerial position, but it was a $20,000 a year increase. Sometimes we are so dedicated to our companies that we're working for, because guess what? With every raise, the company has a cap, like a certain percentage cap that you can get. I think the highest is maybe like 5%, unless you're actually getting promoted into a new position. But sometimes you have to move away from your current company, you know, and explore other options outside of your current company to get that salary increase, to get that position that you desire, you know. So you have to be open to change when it comes down to your career.
Very true. Very true. And at the end of the day, it's like you said earlier, you should have a career that you enjoy doing, something that you love. If you got to wake up every day and you feel miserable about going, it is not the place for you. And, you know, you shouldn't be scared to make a move. And I know a lot of people get so complacent where they are and they don't want to make the change, but then something happens that forces you to make that change, and then you feel unprepared. So I mean, it's always better to feel prepared for that change rather than unprepared for the change, because I think right now a lot of people got sat down that were unprepared because it was unexpected. So you know, like you said, this is a great time for a lot of people to reflect. If they're already sitting at home, this is the great time for reflection and seeing what that next career choice looks like for you. And I know a lot of people right now will just take anything because they want to get back to work. But again, if it's going to cause you distress at the end of the day, it's not worth it. You want to be somewhere that you enjoy, somewhere that you love, and somewhere that you can continue to grow and expand your knowledge outside of that company. Because again, it's great to work for a company for 20, 30 years, but you also want to be able to gain skills along the way.
Exactly. Right. And once again, invest in yourself. You know, invest in taking the time to earn certifications. If you feel the need to where you want to go back and get that degree because you feel you need that in order to move forward, guess what? Invest in yourself. You know, go to your manager if you have that relationship and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in learning this, that, and the other. Hopefully your manager isn't intimidated by you and welcome you with open arms or whatnot. Sometimes you do have companies that offer training on different things. Take advantage of that. You know, invest in yourself. That is the best way that you're going to progress in your career.
Exactly. And I'm a huge proponent on learning all you can learn.
Yeah.
In any given environment, just continue learning. You always want to learn something new.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely.
So with that being said, we are wrapping up since we've been on for the hour. If you're on and you have any questions right now, please feel free to drop them in the comment box where we can answer for you. Even if you want to say hi, you can drop that in the comment box too. Okay, we got nobody want to say nothing.
You know what, guys? Next week, we're going to need you guys to be a little bit more interactive.
I'm need y'all to talk to me now. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Me and Melissa over here feeling like we're talking to ourselves.
Right.
This is awesome. So I look forward to us doing this again next week. And again, just to continue efforts of helping people in the community that feel displaced in this moment and hopefully helping them get back to where they feel at their best, which is back in the workforce. So I thank you, Melissa, for again being on this nice little journey with me and helping our families.
Yes. Like minds, we're gonna save the world.
I know, right? We can't help it. We can't help it.
We're so passionate.
I know. Look, we'll save them one person at a time, you know. But you know, this goes back to our motto. We believe in I pledge to make a difference, and for us, that pledge to make a difference is in anything that we do, no matter how big, no matter how small. And this is definitely one of those pledges to make a difference is, you know, helping people in the best way that we can in any capacity. So again, I thank you because you are awesome for being up at 9 o'clock. We all up late at night, like we don't got to go to work tomorrow. But, you know, I'm like, it excites me, you know, and I find great joy in doing this. And again, just being able to help others get what they need. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So well, guys, reach out to us if you need us.
Yes, indeed. And can you tell them your email address in case they have questions and they want to email you direct?
Of course. My email address is Melissa Myers at JustWrite, that's WRITE, consulting.org. Or you can just go to my Just Right Consulting page on Facebook. Send me a message. My phone is always at my hip. So I will see your message.
And if you guys have any questions for me and need to reach me, you can reach me at info@stepsfoundation.org, or you can reach out to me on our Steps Foundation Facebook page in the messages. I'll always get back with you. I'll help you in the best way I know how. And again, me and Melissa are definitely here to help you guys. So with that being said, we thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday, same time, same place.
See you guys.
Good night.
Good night.